What's up, guys? Sanjay Shina here again from Team Pixel Track, and welcome to this brand new video in the Content Marketing Mastery course. I hope you've been enjoying the course so far. You've learned a lot of things. So, why don't we just do a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous video so that we know that we are on the same page, and I have a few things to show you also. Okay, what did we learn first? We learned what are user personas and why you should be creating user personas, the whole idea behind user personas, and how it can benefit you in not only creating content but also in any other marketing activities per se. Also, what are the key elements of a user persona, and a downloadable template of a user persona which has been attached in the previous video. I will be showing you how it looks and how you can use it yourself, and I've also included a few samples so that you know how it looks when it's actually done, and you can play around with it and tell me what you think about it. So I'll quickly jump into the Excel sheet that I've created, which has the templates for a user persona. Okay, so this is how the template looks like, and this is the sheet you'll be getting, the user personas content marketing mastery. This is a template, and there are a few samples. I'll just quickly go through the template itself so that you understand how to use it. Everything is pretty much done for you. You just have to fill in the information. So I have segregated the age ranges, so you can choose any of these age ranges. And then there's the gender, of course, and location. You have to input it yourself, the education level that the guys have, the relationship status, and interest you can put in yourself. Sources of information, again, you need to put it yourself. Channels, what channels are they most active on? So I've made it most active just so that you get a very clear idea of who to focus on which channel. And what are the preferred communication methods these guys have? Phone, email, WhatsApp, social media, and face-to-face. What is the job title they have? Are they like an entry-level trainee? Are they an associate? Are they an executive? Are they a manager position? Whatever it can be. So put in the job title and what is the income level that they have. And so again, I've made segregations for that. Size of their organization. So all of this, the professional data that you see here, can be especially useful for B2B marketers and B2B content marketers. So which is why I put it like this. I've made it into personal, professional, and other data. And what are the KPIs for the job? How are they evaluated for their job? And if you have a B2B product, if it can help in their job performance, then what are the KPIs that they need to be looking for, and who do they report to? This kind of gives you an idea in terms of what kind of an organization they are. Tools and softwares used. This is pretty much similar to interest. So now you know what kind of language to speak to your users. So this is about the professional data, and then the other data you need to have. What are their goals and objectives? Exactly like you had your goals and objectives for your blog. What are the goals and objectives in their career with respect to whatever you're trying to solve? And what is the biggest challenge that they're facing in achieving these goals and objectives? And if they had to buy a solution from you, what would be their buying motivation? And what is stopping them from making that purchase decision? What are the buying concerns that they have? So let's quickly go through the sample that I've created just so that you get an idea. Let's go with this guy, Sahid. His age is about 26, 29, male, Bangalore, master's degree. He's single. What are his interests? He's into startups. He plays the piano. He camps. He works out, and he loves attending music concerts. What is sources of information? Blogs, conferences, webinars, workshops, etc. Channels he's most active on is Facebook. Preferred communication is on email. He is a digital marketing manager in a technological space, and he gets about this much in salary. Size of their organization is this big. His KPIs are basically sales, leads, and revenue. Who does he report to? VP of Marketing, CEO, and the tools that he uses: Intercom, Ahrefs, Grammarly, Moz, HubSpot. What is his goals? He wants to go up the corporate ladder and wishes to start his own company eventually. Also, he wants to increase his personal brand worth. Biggest challenge is he's not able to execute content marketing strategies for his organization. And his buying motivation would be better career prospects both internally and externally, brand. And this buying motivation is aligned with what I am trying to, what my objectives are uh, from the blog or whatever I'm trying to do. And his buying concerns are, is there a brand behind whatever he is buying? Is there credibility? Is there safety? If I'm planning to do a course, he's worried about his ability to upskill without peers, without having classmates, and like without having a physical setup. So now, if you create like multiple personas, I've done about four, and you can go ahead and do as many as you want. I strongly suggest you do as many as you want, and it gives you a very clear idea in terms of who your audience is. And this is downloadable. I've attached it with the previous video, so go ahead, download it, take a look at all of this, and fill in your own template and fill in your own user personas. This is super important to do because in this video we'll be showing you how to use this particular information and like make it useful in your whole content marketing. So if you haven't done it yet, please go ahead and create your user personas, use this template, and feel free to play around with the template itself. If you feel like you need to add more information here, feel free to go ahead and do that. But I feel that this is like the basic, the most important ones that I've put across, and I've made it into a nice sheet so you can like go ahead and just like fill in all the information like I have. And yeah, go ahead and do it. Pause the video if you have to. Go ahead and do it. Take about 15-20 minutes or probably half an hour or however long it takes. Go ahead and do it, and we'll catch you back again. Awesome. I hope you guys have gone ahead and created your user personas. So let's get started with today's video. What are we talking about in today's video? So we are going to find your voice. We are talking about finding your voice and how you can find out your own voice that you'll be writing with. And it might sound a little confusing right now, but trust me, by the end of it, you'll know what exactly I'm talking about. So let's find out what you're going to learn in this particular video. You'll know what voice means. I'm not actually saying the vocal voice that you're hearing from me right now. How do you like put across like a voice to your writing and what it means? And how to figure out your intent. This is very important in finding out your voice and identify the audience. We have done this already, and we'll be now seeing how we're going to use all of that information to find your voice, and what is tone and pace of your voice, and also examples of different voices from different sources, so that it gives you an idea as to like what are the different ways you can create a voice, and also how to build a strong voice over a period of time. So this is all the things that you'll be learning. I'm pretty sure you guys are excited to know what all this is about. So let's get started with the video and figure out what your voice is. So by now you must be wondering, what do you mean by voice? So just to make things clear, I'm not talking about this voice. I'm not talking about your vocal sound that you make. I'm talking about the voice of your writing. Now, when you say voice of your writing, depending on who you ask, it can either be your style of writing and the perspective you have over the subject matter in question, or the tone in which you write, or it can be all of the above. So your voice, what it does is it helps you stand out. A unique voice basically helps you bond with your audience, bond with your readers, so that they will feel like coming back to hear you. And also a good voice makes you feel good about your writing. And so it's safe to say, to put it in very simple terms, voice can be your style of writing, when it comes to content. And don't worry, a lot of people think that you're born with it or you're not. Voice is something which is very innate to you. Don't worry about it. Voice is not innate. Nobody like is born with a voice. It develops over time, and it takes a lot of time to develop a very good, strong voice. And it only comes by practice. And trust me when I say this, everybody starts at zero. I have, and so have the best writers in the world, and so will you. And the only thing that is stopping you from developing that amazing voice for your content, for your style, is just you. So don't worry about it. It's going to take a lot of time, and once you have developed it, you'll realize that how concise you are in communicating whatever you have to, and how sensory and emotional it can be, and to drive that message. To put it in very one statement, rather, what you're trying to do with your voice is you're trying to communicate your message. It's just not stating it, you're communicating it. And that is what voice is all about. So, this is what we'll be trying to do. This is what we'll be trying to find in this particular video. We'll be trying to figure out what kind of style of writing that you should be doing. In other words, what is your voice? So, the first step in finding out your voice is trying to understand why you're writing this. What is the intention behind writing this particular thing? What do you intend to do? How do you intend to move your audience? So, this is slightly different from the objective. In the objectives, you are trying to understand how or why you're trying to do whatever you're trying to do so that it benefits you, right? So in this case, finding that intention behind this blog post would be like, how is it going to benefit your reader, and what is it going to do for them? And that is the first thing. And it also helps you like get away from the writer's block. By doing this exercise, trust me, by the end of this video you will have a clear understanding of pretty much what to write, and most importantly, how to write it. So the first thing that you need to understand is what is your intention behind writing your blog. Now, you can do this exercise for your entire blog before you start off with, and you should be doing it along with me right now. And I would strongly suggest that you do it for every blog post that you write, so that you have a very clear understanding of what you're trying to do. I'm going to give you an example. For example, the reason why the intention behind my blog is I want to convince my readers that content marketing is not as complicated as it seems. And this is my intention behind writing my blog. And of course, you can have multiple intentions. For example, content marketing is not the only aspect that I'll be talking on my blog, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to use only content marketing. And this is a great start for you. So I want to dash, what do you want to do to your users, to your readers? So probably it can be to educate your users, it can be to inspire them, it can be to just entertain them or motivate them, inform them, persuade them. It can be any of these things. So just pause this video for a minute, and what I want you to do is I want to write a statement which is like this. I want to convince my readers that content marketing is not as complicated as it seems. So the intention behind your blog, just write it out. It can be anything. Don't try to make it complicated. You can use the example as reference here. You can use all of these things that is written, verbs that is written here. It can be to educate, to inspire, to entertain, to motivate, to inform, to persuade, or to convince, whatever it might be. If you have other things in your mind, just put it out there. So once you have understood the intention behind your blog or your content piece for that matter, now it's time for you to identify your audience. Now, I hope that you have gone ahead and done the exercise of user personas, because we'll be using that whatever data that we got from there right now. So whatever, I suggest that you at least create 3 or 4 of them, and choose at least one user persona from your list, right? At least one of them. And I have chosen one user persona, and his name is Pranish. And Pranish wants to understand the importance of content in SEO, and his biggest challenge is his lack of command over English. So this is something a lot of people face, and a lot of people have this thought in their mind. So I created a user persona out of that. So I'll be targeting Pranish, who wants to understand the importance of content in SEO, and his biggest challenge is his lack of command over English. So go back to your user persona, just pick one user persona, just pick one of them, and just write it down the way I have written down. Okay, now that you have the intent behind your blog and you have identified your audience, when you put these things together, something amazing happens. The moment you put these things together, you get the tone and pace of your blog or your voice. So basically, what is the tone that you need to be speaking in, and what is the pace that you need to be going at? Now, let's try to understand what tone and pace is all about, and gives you a more clearer idea. So basically, your tone is your attitude about what you're writing. It's about how you're feeling about what you're writing. And your tone can fluctuate throughout your entire content piece and depending on how it wants to go. And your tone can be serious, it can be formal, it can be cheerful, comical, cheeky, etc. So as you can see, while I'm speaking also, I'm fluctuating my tone and I'm fluctuating my pace just to emphasize on certain things, right? So that's exactly you need to be doing with your particular writing also. What tone does is it creates kind of an ambience for your readers. I'll give you an example. So I have this dog Max, so I can uh, and he loves chewing on my shoes, and most dogs do, and so does he. So when I catch him doing something like that, so I can say something like, Max, those shoes are not meant to be chewed on. Or I can just say, Max, no. Both the things are the meaning is the same in both the things. What I expect him to do is the same thing. I want him to stop chewing the shoes. But there is a difference in the tone in both of these examples, right? So one of them was patient and instructive, but the other one was like very angry and very authoritative. And it's the same thing with your writing also. So the tone gives the the tone gives the reader cues on how to feel about it. What is the ambience about it? And this comes and he absorbs this from how you're feeling about it. And that's very important to bring out in your writing also. And you need to make your readers feel your excitement, your disappointment, your disapproval, your relief, etc. Whatever you're like facing, you need to make them feel it. And that's how your writing becomes very interesting, very intriguing for them to like, because you have a certain vantage point, you have a certain perspective about what you're writing, and you need to bring it forward. You might be excited about it, you might be disappointed about it, you might be disapproving of it, you might be saying a sign of relief, whatever it might be. You need to bring it out, and how you're feeling about what you're writing, just bring it out. And that gives you your tone. And pace is how fast you want to convey the same point, right? And imagine if you were like talking to a businessman who has very little time compared to, say, a 5-year old who has a lot of time, all the time in the world. Now, the way you talk and the way you explain things is very different. And if you're talking to the businessman, probably you will have your elevator pitch ready and you will explain the same thing in probably less than 60 seconds. And if you were to describe the same thing to a 5-year old, you take your own time to make it very extensive, very in depth, very basic, so that that other person understands it. So your tone and pace completely depends on your audience again. And your tone basically depends on how you're feeling about it. Your pace depends on your audience, and how willing they are to like read through or watch through or hear through your communication. So that is what tone and pace is all about. So what is this tone and pace? By now you might have got this clue, right? So you got the tone and the pace by merging your intention and audience. And the tone and pace in which you're talking is basically your voice, right? So once you have the intention and the audience, you understand the tone and the pace, you combine everything together, you get the voice, right? And that's as simple as that. How magically it just appeared, right? It's beautiful how when it like magically reappears. So let me give you an example. So this is what I went ahead and did with the example that I've taken up. So I went ahead and mixed my intention and my audience, and this is what I got. So I want to convince Pranish, who wants to understand the importance of content and whose biggest challenge is his lack of command over English, that content marketing is not as complicated as it seems. So, looking back at Pranesh's user persona, I know that what kind of an age group he falls under. He's between the 21 to 25 range. He's still new into the whole career scene and all of that, which is why I would like to keep the tone very informal and witty so that he's not very easily distractible. But at the same time, I want to make it quick to read yet extensive with information, because I want to make it quick to read because seems to be the kind of guy who might get very easily distracted. He might have Facebook on, he might have Instagram on, he might be messaging someone on WhatsApp. He's young, he's new, he's energetic, so easier to get distracted. But I still want to have very extensive information within this thing. So if just pause this video and just read it out. Even you would understand what and how to write about, right? The moment you write it out like this, you understand. Now, what I need to be writing about is I need to be writing about the importance of content and how lack of command over English shouldn't be a problem and how you can improve it and all of these things. And I'm getting all of these ideas right now just by writing this out, right? And the tone and pace in which I should be writing automatically comes because I know who I'm talking to. So when you pick out an audience, when you identify an audience, just pick out one audience and just stick to it. So when you stick to it, as though I'm writing this to Pranesh itself. So this really helps you elevate your writer's block, right? So the moment you conduct this exercise, trust me, your writer's block is out of the window. So pause this video, do this exercise, mix your intention and audience. You'll automatically get this and go through your user personas to get information about what kind of tone you should be talking in and what kind of pace you should be having. So go ahead and write this for yourself, and we'll get you on the other side. Okay, awesome. I hope that you guys have gone ahead and written down that. Just I want to give you a few examples just to get your gears moving, just to get the ball rolling, so that you get some references in terms of what are the different kinds of voices out there. So this is example number one. I'll just read it out, or you can also read it out if you want. So feel organized without the effort. Evernote helps you capture and prioritize ideas, projects, and to-do lists so nothing falls through the crack. So as you can see here, this is about Evernote, and this is on the homepage of Evernote, which is why I thought that this is a great example for it. It is very to the point. It is very crisp. It's very concise, and they're talking to a big audience out there, but it's rather specific audience also because they mostly might be wanting to talk to businessmen, startup owners, entrepreneurs, managers, and all of these kind of people who want to feel very organized. So it is very to the point. There are no fluff in between, no frills, nothing. Just to the point, and just telling you how Evernote is going to help them capture and prioritize things. So this is a great example of a good voice, very straightforward. Let's take a look at another example. I found this in a product description for a bacon crate. So bacon is basically pork. A lot of people eat it in abroad. Anyway, so I saw this in the product description, and I thought that this is like a very good way to convey things. I'll just read it out. We are not ashamed to say our love is untraditional. We love bacon in ways your parents might not approve of. We use bacon in ways that might have not crossed your mind. If you share our passion, then let this crate open your mind to 7 new ways to express your love. Very interesting, right? So they know exactly who their audience is. They use a lot more words, and they use a lot more emotion also. Because they know who exactly their audience is, and they want to attract that specific audience, and the tone and the pace, everything is like pretty much sorted out. The intention here is for them to convince them they love bacon as much as anyone else would, and they should be buying it from them. The audience is probably men who are like slightly around 30, and the tone and pace is the tone is very witty, it's very sarcastic. At the same time, the pace is like eased out. Someone who can like sit down, relax, and read it, but and completely resonate with this particular messaging. Again, a very good example of a good voice. Let's look at another example. Slightly complicated, but check it out. Haven't you often wished you could make customers, employees, investors, or students snap, crackle, pop, and move to the new place they need to be in order to create a new feature? Again, there's a lot of sensory words, a lot of emotions, which helps you to paint a picture in your head, so which is amazing, which is really good. It is not unlike your other kind of writing, but still at the same time, it creates this beautiful picture in your head, which conveys the point that whatever the writer is trying to do. Let's look at another example. Example number 4. Can I be painfully honest with you for a moment? Not thank God he told me honesty. If somebody points out you have spinach on your teeth, No, I'm talking about the sucker punch straight to the face brand of honesty. It's brutal, it's ugly, it's unexpected. Dude, I mean, you must have figured it out by now what kind of a voice this is. It's very authoritative, it's very in your face, but at the same time, it might risk repelling a few of them, but at the same time, it might like attract the set audience in mind. So you might observe that, you might notice that sometimes our copywriter also uses this kind of a tone just to prove a point across. But he's setting up the stage to put out an opinion which might be very strong, or put out a perspective which might not be very popular out there, which is why he's setting the stage. So he's saying that he's setting the expectations very right for it, and is being saying that I'm going to be very honest with you, and he's very straight in your face types. So imagine somebody came up to you, and when I read it out, it actually seemed like someone was talking to you, right? And that's the beauty of it. This the kind of voice this is. That's the beauty of it. So these are the examples. I hope that I've given pretty decent examples. I hope that you have got a few ideas yourself. You've got the inspiration to create and craft your own voice. So go ahead and do that. So you might have noticed that in past examples that I just gave, the voices are quite strong. And like I mentioned in the beginning, to develop this strong voice, it takes a lot of time. You build it over time, so there's no hurry to do whatsoever. So, but let's find out like how to build a strong voice over a period of time. The first thing that you need to do is to be concise. You might have observed this in your real life also when you're talking to people. People with a weak voice, not necessarily the vocal sound. Someone who has a weak thought process, they keep rambling on, and that's not nice because you're getting lost. The message is getting lost in all the chaos. So be concise, don't keep rambling. Do not speak in generic terms. Do not use meaningless words. So, a strong voice has a lot of clarity in thought. A strong voice knows exactly what to be said and exactly what message that needs to be conveyed. So, be concise. So, brush off the dirt, chisel away all the unwanted stuff, shed some weight, and let your message sparkle. You need not have to like cover it up with unnecessary fluff just to make it look bigger and nicer. It definitely doesn't. So be concise as much as possible and appeal to your reader. So when you're writing, it might seem like it's a one-way communication, but in reality, what you're doing is you're having a conversation with your reader. What you're doing with your writing is you're sneaking into his brain, his or her brain, and you're trying to figure out what their problems are and what kind of solutions you can give them. You're understanding what their struggles are, how you can help them overcome that, and what are the concerns or what is stopping them from taking the action that you want them to take. So you need to speak the reader's language. You need to speak the language that they understand, that they comprehend. And a big mistake what people do is they equate writing good content with using jargon, with using very complex words, with using very fancy words. That's definitely not the case. Always speak the reader's language. Do not use any kind of jargon. Do not use any kind of academic words. Keep it very simple so that you appeal to your readers. And paint clear pictures. Just because you're being concise doesn't mean that you have to use lesser words. You can also use nicer words to dazzle your readers. What you need to be doing is you need to make an emotional connection with your readers, and you need to tap into the emotions of your readers. And how do you do this? A lot of people, what happens is the moment they start writing, they start stating facts. You stop stating facts. There is enough avenues for your readers to absorb or take these facts from. Uh, you need to make them feel what you're feeling, and that's how you create that connection. You need to use sensory, you need to be emotional about whatever you're trying to put across. So don't state facts. Even if you want to state facts, you can say what you think about those facts. In the example 3, you can see how the writer painted a very nice image in your head. You should be able to do that. You need to pick up on topic, and you should be able to do that, and you will eventually be able to do that with a lot of practice. And very important, take a stance. Have an opinion about things. It might be right, it might be wrong. Don't worry. I mean, you cannot please everyone in this world, and any kind of feedback is good feedback. If you don't have a feedback, then it means that you're doing something wrong. So don't be in the gray zone. Don't be in the middle. So pick one extreme and say that, you know what, this is right, this is wrong, or this is right, the other one is wrong. So whatever it is, and justify your stance. So that gives your voice a very strong appeal to it. Also have a perspective, right? Your perspective is very unique to you. Imagine if you saw an accident on the road on your way back home, and there might be like 20, 30 people on the in the same place, but if you ask everyone, everyone will have a different perspective, because the way they viewed and comprehended that whole experience will be completely unique to them. So your perspective is unique to you, and it's very crucial in giving your voice that uniqueness, because nobody stood at the same place that you stood. So bring out your perspective, bring out how you experienced it and describe it. Also bring out your personality, right? Like, if you were to describe yourself with three words, three adjectives for that matter, what would it be? And if bring that out bring that out in your writing. And a lot of people might feel a little hesitant to do that, but eventually you will find that comfort to like actually bring out your actual personality, who you are as a person. You need to bring that out in your writing, and once you do all of these things, you're going to build a very strong voice over a period of time. Don't worry, don't get disheartened by the fact that you don't have a voice right now. You will eventually get it there, and I'm pretty sure if you follow all these steps, you'll develop a very strong voice over a period of time. So that brings us to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope by the end of this video, you're going to find your voice. I know I have one. Just kidding. Anyway, I hope you really find your voice, and trust me, the moment you do that, a big problem of a lot of people out there gets solved automatically. What should I write and how should I write it, right? So moment you do this, the voice is so important for that. If you go down and write whatever you wanted to write, you might have already figured out what to write and how to write. But don't worry, in the next video we'll be figuring it out a much better way to figure out what to write for your readers. So thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you in the next one.